I want to introduce you to someone who is gazelle intense, paying off credit card debts. So I can't wait for you to hear their story.
I felt hopeless, disappointed in myself.
I felt like trapped, like a rat in the wheel, that I knew that we needed to do something, but I had no idea where to start.
We had about $40,000 in credit card debt. We just thought credit card debt was something we were going to have our whole lives. At first, we each had a credit card, and a lot of it was we didn't have a lot of money, so we used that as income. That was to pay for groceries, and anybody that would give us some credit to buy some stuff that we needed, we had it. It just seemed like something that was normal, that everyone did, so we just kind of followed along.
So one day I listened to the Dave Ramsey show for the first time, and his message clicked with me immediately, and I came home. Russell and I had a difficult conversation. We ordered the book and read it, and we were able to work through some things, and then it was off from there. And when we discovered this program and realized how stupid we had been, and we got on track, it was rough on the kids, rough on both of them, especially our son, because he was a freshman in college and he wanted to do fun college things, and we had to tell him no.
Same thing with our daughter. We were always, you'd go out to eat on the weekends, and that was just something that she looked forward to. And we had to say, no, we're cooking again at the house. Going through this and our children seeing what we went through, I feel like they will have learned and will not get into the situation that we did. Before,
we didn't live on a budget. And if we wanted to spend something, we spent it. If we wanted to go out to eat, we went out to eat. And now that we live on a budget and everything is intentional, we have so much more freedom.
We're debt free! Thanks, guys, so much for being here, coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are here in Nashville because you just did your debt-free scream.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so how much debt total was paid off?
$84,000.
$84,000. How long did it take you guys?
22 months.
22 months. Right at 2 years, $84,000. Okay, and how much of that was credit card debt?
$40,000.
$40,000.
Yes,
okay.
Almost half of it.
Okay, so I'm like so curious. Okay, so how many credit cards did you have that totaled $40,000 of debt?
Right, so we had a Visa and a MasterCard that had most of it on there, but then we also had 5 or 6 cards from different stores that had $1,000 here, $1,000 here.
Totally, yes.
Yeah.
So when you have $40,000 of credit card debt specifically, a lot of people get credit cards because they think, okay, well, my necessities, I have to have a credit card to survive and to pay the bills. Some people use it and they just overspend. They live way beyond their means. So what kind of boat would you guys be in? Both of those? Like what did you put on the credit cards?
Initially, when we started out, we were very young. We had our son young, and we needed it for necessities. We needed it for groceries, just to survive. I mean, I think you stated it as it was our extra income.
Yes,
if you will.
Yeah.
And then once we got to a point where we didn't need them anymore, we had them for so long that that was an option to get whatever we wanted quickly without planning for it.
Totally. Yeah, which is so normal, right?
Right.
Like, that's like how so many people live. So when you bought things like a new mattress or furniture and all of that, did you know going into those purchases, like, we're not going to be able to pay these off at the end of the month? Because some people say, well, I have a credit card and I'll just pay it off at the end of the month. Did you have that mindset, or did you think, okay, we're buying things that we clearly are not going to be able to pay off, but we're okay with that?
I think we were okay with it.
Yeah.
We were fine with, we'll take 2 years to pay it off or 3 years to pay it off.
Yes, totally. So you lived in this cycle with credit cards for how long, would you say?
Our entire marriage up to that point. So we'll be married 20 years next month.
Okay.
So
17 years.
Yes.
17 or 18
okay.
years.
So 17 years of kind of this habit, right, of this being part of your life. What was the moment that you said, I'm done. I'm so tired of seeing these credit card bills. I'm so tired of being in debt. Like, I've had it. What was that moment for you guys?
Yeah, it was right before Christmas in 2016 that we had the difficult conversation. We got it all out there, out on the table. It was a very difficult conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary, you guys.
It was scary.
Yeah, for a lot of people, they just like, ignorance is bliss in a sense, and they just know they have all this stuff, but pulling it out and actually looking at the numbers, it's really, really scary. So how How did that go? You said it was tough, but talk to me about that. Were there tears? Was there yelling?
There was tears. There was yelling. It was probably the most epic fight I think we've had in our marriage.
Wow.
And money can destroy a marriage, and I think ours was perhaps on that path. So I think this really saved our marriage.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Russell, I think that's such a great point, because especially with couples, when you're not communicating about money, naturally one person kind of just takes on the responsibility of the money and the other one doesn't. And so the person that's responsible, it's a very lonely place because it's like you're the one, all the responsibilities on you. It feels heavy. It feels like this burden because you're like, I'm the only one that knows this. And so did you find that it was this lonely place and you felt that burden lift when you shared this with her?
Definitely, yes. It was a weight off my shoulders and my chest when we finally knew exactly where we were.
Yes, so good.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's hearing the story, because there's a lot of people watching this, hearing, wow, they got out of all their debt, including all this credit card debt, and they're not living with credit cards, but they're sitting there thinking, but you have to have a credit card. Like, it's 2019, you still have to have a credit card. What would you say to them?
No, you absolutely do not have to have a credit card. A credit card is this chain around your neck that prevents you from using your income for the joy of life, for generosity to others. It's just not something you should do to yourself.
So those out there watching that are in the middle of their debt-free journey, they're paying off debt, because there's a lot of people watching on Baby Step 2, majority of people are. What would you say to help them stay motivated? That you're like, okay, we know it's hard, it can be a long process, but what could they do to stay motivated?
I would say my biggest motivation was that goal, that picture in my head of where I wanted to, how I was going to celebrate getting through that.
Yes, that's so good, so good. What about you, Russell?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. I mean, just knowing that when we were done, we were going to have that freedom and how good it was going to feel.
Yes.
And, you know, when we got to step 3, when we start building our emergency fund, just seeing some extra money go in the bank and it's sitting there and you can look at it. That was a nice feeling too.
Oh, so good. Oh, it totally is. Yes. Give me like an adjective of beforehand, like how you felt until sitting on this couch right now, being completely debt-free with money saved now in the bank with the emergency fund. What would you say?
I feel like a completely different person. I can't imagine going back to the way we were living before. That would be waking up in a nightmare. The freedom we have now, living on a budget, knowing that when we do something, when we spend money, it's intentional. It's so freeing.
So freeing. And I love that because it's the tried and true picture of the idea that being in control gives you that freedom. And people think, well, living my life with credit cards and doing whatever I want whenever I want it, that doesn't end up in freedom. It ends up in stress and bondage like you guys experience. And so I think that was so well said. Well, thank you guys so much for being on. I really appreciate you sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.